India is a vast country and we have a population of nearly 1.5 to 1.6 billion people. Now yes, that is a very significant number, but another significant number is the fact that in 2022, we had nearly 1,50,000 accidents on the road. Now yes, you and I might be pretty safe drivers, but there are ways where you can be the better guy, and that is exactly what I want to do today with the Hyundai Tucson, where I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks and also explain the safety measures with the Hyundai Tucson. Let's begin. Now I'm going to explain more about the safety features that are standard in today's vehicles, such as the airbags, the tire pressure monitoring system, ADAS and a lot more. Come with me. Now before heading out on the open road, one should always buckle up, not only for the front but the rear as well. Now the one thing that really fascinates me is the fact that we Indians are really catering towards safety and keeping safety as our #1 priority while buying the car. Now you obviously have the manufacturers give their G NCAP rating or their Latin NCAP rating, which in a 4 or 5 star rating usually means the car is very safe. But that is not always the case. Take for example these Hyundai cars. Most Hyundai cars that are manufactured actually have a very good safety rating simply because of the materials that they use in the chassis and the materials that they use for the body. The chassis is actually very strong with all of the metals that are used to enforce the safety of the vehicle, and the aluminium used actually allows you to reduce the impact that the passenger feels in case of an accident. In the Tucson, you have a whole slew of safety features such as ABS, traction control, EBD, ADAS, lane keep assist, lane mitigation assist. You also have a forward collision warning system and you have 6 airbags. Now, keep all of those things aside for a second because I want to talk about one very important element, that is the seat belts. When you're sitting in the front, you should always buckle up, but that shouldn't be the case just for the front seats. The rear seats passengers should also buckle up in case of an emergency, because when you're out on the highways, you're actually cruising at the speed limit. Also, please keep in mind that there is a reason why the speed limits have been set on highways. Don't overspeed just because it's fun, because the government has actually tested these roads and they have set the speed limit so that in case you need to come to a halt or you come to meet with an emergency or you actually meet with an accident, it will be as less of fatal an accident as it can be because you're maintaining the speed limit. Nonetheless, yes, when you're wearing the seat belts in the front, there is a whole slew of safety features that are keeping you safe, such as your airbags and other features. But when you're sitting in the rear, all you have is this device that keeps you safe, which is very important because in India, most cases, passengers in the rear are not really wearing their seat belts, which can be a problem when you meet with an accident, which I wouldn't want anybody to meet with an accident to begin with. But nonetheless, sitting in the rear, you need to be wearing a seat belt as well because it actually keeps you a whole lot safer. Also helps you deploy the airbags in case you meet with an accident. Now when I was talking about the blind spot monitoring, what I meant was that now currently I'm driving and there was a scooter on my mirror and I could not actually see him because of the blind spot that was there. But in the Tucson, I get a notification via a red notification icon on the mirrors that tell me that there's something in my blind spot and I should be careful while making my lane change, and I should also indicate while making my lane change. Did you hear that, by the way? That was the vehicle notifying me that there is something in my blind spot and I should be mindful while making my lane change. Now ADAS is something that we all are really familiar with because it is a feature that is coming in most cars in today's day and time. But have you wondered what ADAS actually does? It doesn't really drive the car for you, but it actually assists you while you're driving on the highways. Let's say for example you're cruising in the highway at the speed of 60 and you maintain the speed of 60 the entire way. You can actually set the ADAS to guide you and to help you out when you're out on the highways, because one, what it does is it keeps you between the lanes and it doesn't let you veer off the lanes, which is obviously a nice safety feature to have. Plus, the camera in the front is constantly scanning the road up ahead and checking for any sort of imperfections or sudden changes, or maybe a vehicle breaking down or something on the road, and will actually slow down for you and notify you that there's something coming up in the front. Also, when you're cruising on the highway and let's say you're trailing a vehicle. Now, if the vehicle in the front directly comes to a halt for some unforeseen reasons, and before you can react and slow down, the vehicle actually does it for you, which is very impressive. Now, all of those things are definitely catered towards safety, but that is not all. There is a lot more that is required with regards to the safety while you are driving. Now, that's something that really grinds my gears because I see a lot of people do it, but I would want more people to do it. And that is that when you have an ambulance behind you, or when you have a fire truck behind you, or the police behind you, you actually need to get out of the way safely so that they can pass you, because they are certainly dealing with an emergency and they would want the road to be as clear as possible in a safe and timely manner so that they get to their locations faster and are able to help the people in need where required. Now, that is something I want people to start doing voluntarily, wherein I want to start see people actually adhere to the rules and regulations on the road, such as so when you see people crossing the road, now we live in a country where we have people crossing the road the entire time, but when you have people crossing the road via zebra sign, you should actually come to a halt and let them pass so that it's safer for everybody around you and safer for the people in the vehicle as well. Now, there is one elephant I need to address, and that is the fact that this sunroof is not for people to go out or for kids to go out. I see a lot of parents encouraging their kids to go out of the sunroof just because it's fun. While it might be fun, there can certainly be catastrophic results regarding that. For instance, let's say you are having or maybe you are outside the sunroof, or you have your kid outside the sunroof, and there's a stone chip that comes from a truck in the front that can directly impact you or your child, which can cause certain injuries. Or there are other elements on the road which actually can cause injuries when you're out in the sun. Now, when you're actually in your car and you have the windows up, if something does happen, there is some sort of layer of safety that is there to keep you safe, but that isn't the case when you're out in the sunroof. So please, I would avoid and I would recommend people to not do that. So those are all the tips and tricks and the safety that allows you to be the better guy while you're out on the road. My time with the Hyundai Tucson was very short, but I actually got to experience all the safety tech that it has to offer. Now, the tips that I mentioned, such as giving way to ambulances and fire trucks, not coming out of the sunroof unnecessarily, maintaining the speed limits, yes, wearing a seatbelt at the front and the rear, are all things that can keep you safe and can obviously keep the pedestrians safe on the road as well. With that, let us know in the comments down below, what do you think that should be added or things that I missed out while I was talking about the safety. With that, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to BBC Top Gear Magazine India.